Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Adhyanatamrindasya Gyanjanashalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Mate Jai Pataka Swaminati Namni Namacharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradhayani Ghor Katha Dhamdaya Nagar Gram Tarni Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminati Namni Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharni Nirvasesh Sunivadi Paschat Deshtarni Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shvasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So we are in the 7th chapter and we have done 3 verses and Krishna is explaining how we can know him, right? Because that is how we can do Bhakti Yoga. Only we have to know him. How can you love someone you don't know, right? Text 1 was Supreme Personality of God. It said, now hear, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga, your Preeti, can you show the thing? How by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. So he is going to tell us how to practice yoga in full. No, that he has already said, how to practice yoga. Now he is saying, he's helping us how to become attached to him in our mind. And we can know him fully. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain to be known. So that is what he's telling about the phenomenal world and numinous, the spirit behind it and the source of both them. So material and spiritual knowledge he is giving. And then he's also telling that how out of thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. So this knowledge is very, very special. It's not that you won't find everybody knowing this knowledge. So, and that is why it's very confidential. Even though it is there in the Bhagavad Gita, everybody can read, but it's not that simply you read and you'll understand. You have to become a devotee and surrender to Guru and Krishna, and we have a great desire to know him. So now he's going to tell about material nature. Bhumir apo analo vayuhu kam mano buddhirevacha ahankara iti yammi bhinna prakritir ashtada. So the 8 aspects of parts of the material energy. What is that? In this world, in this universe, earth, it's made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind. So those are the gross ones. And then mind, intelligence, and false ego. All together, these 8 constitute my separated energies. Yeah, we see that. All these 8 things. Bhumi, then apaha, water is apa, fire is analo, air is vayuhu. Then kam is ether. Manaha is mind, intelligence is buddhi, and ahankara is false ego. Iti yamme bhinna prakritir ashtada. So these are my separated 8. These 8 constitute my separated material energies. So very, even though we see varieties in this material universe, it all originated from these. These are the constituents of that. Otherwise, we'll get bewildered if you don't know what is the unity in this entire material creation. And you see that wherever you go, from the topmost planet, Brahmaloka, to down Patala Loka, everything is made up of only these 8 features, except that the proportion in which it exists in different lokas is different. You may not have found curriculum. How
can you do that? Have to make
yeah, Suraj called.
Where is your call? Where is your phone?
In curriculum, sofa. So, So he's present even with anyone who knows these three Vishnus. So the science of God, it's a science, analyzes the constitutional position of God and his diverse energies. So it is not some kind of a blind faith or anything. Faith is based on science. It's a science. Material nature is called Prakriti, or the energy of the Lord, in his different Purusha incarnations as described in the Satvata Tantra. One child, how to. You can call Suraj because he was trying to call you.
Recording in progress.
Okay. Hare Krishna. So, material nature is called Prakriti, or energy of the Lord. And energy is owned by the energetic, and he's the Purusha. So this is Prakriti, means there has to be a Purusha. And who's the Purusha? Lord Krishna's plenary expansions assumes three Vishnus. For the material world, Krishna doesn't personally get involved in this creation of this world. And so he has got he expands himself into three Vishnus. First one, Mahavishnu, creates the total material energy known as Mahatattva. Yes, somebody wanted to know yesterday, what is Mahatattva? It is the sum total of all material energy is called Mahatattva. And that gets, when Mahavishnu just glances at that Mahatattva, then it becomes agitated. And then the three modes appear. And the second, then the Lord enters. Once this Mahatattva is ready with all, it's very dark, and unless the Lord comes, it's not going to, it's not going to function. So he expands. Mahavishnu is lying there, and from his pores, so many universes come out, and ours is the smallest universe, and in that, the Lord expands himself into unlimited Garbhodakshayi Vishnus and enters it. And just like only when the soul enters the body grows. If the soul leaves, body does not function. Similarly, this material universe, which is made up of material ingredients, can function only when the super soul or the Bhagwan enters. He's the Garbhodakshayi Vishnu is the soul of this whole universe. Only when the super soul enters, then everything, it starts, creation starts taking place. Otherwise, it's very dark and cold and nothing is there. No place to even sit. So the Lord comes, and from his body, so much of sweat, water comes out, not sweat like ours, but water comes out from his body. Everything is coming from him, right? Even this water, what we see here, it's all Krishna's energy. So water comes out of his body, it's pure water. And then he fills up this whole universe with half of it, and then he lies down on Anantasesha. That is the seat. So then the second, Garbhodakshayi Vishnu enters the universe to create diversities in each of them. And third, Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, he expands himself and is the all-pervading super soul in every atom he enters and every living entity's heart. However, he may be a tiny most microbe, or he is very, very huge in an elephant's body. It's not that the soul becomes bigger when in an elephant's body. The same tiny soul enters all sizes of bodies. And along with the soul, Paramatma also, Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, also enters. He's present even within the atoms. anyone who knows these three Vishnus can be liberated from material entanglement, right? When you know that everywhere Vishnu is there, then you will see, when you see all material wonderful things, you will think of Krishna, right? It's not that everything is fantastic because it's created by Krishna. And the thing is, most people, they just look at the material energy and they're very, very attracted by it, but they don't think about the person who created it. But if you know this, then whatever things, like say you are a chemist, or you're doing some uh, uh, experiments, and you're seeing how different chemicals, they react with one another. How does that reaction take place? It's all happening because of the presence of Paramatma. How do volcanoes, so much of molten lava flows? Matter cannot move without the presence of soul. So because Krishna is in the soul of every, in the atom, every atom, that's why even material life functions. So that is why we'll become liberated, because anything happens, we know, oh, this is Krishna's work. All the activities of the material world are directed by these three Vishnu expansions of Lord Krishna. These Purushas are called incarnations. So people don't understand normally, because of not knowing the Purushas. They don't know how, if I chant some mantras, if I try to please Krishna, how will that bring about rain? How will that make everything, plants grow very nicely? And how will that bring about prosperity? They think, oh, how material nature is different and Krishna is different. That's what they think. But when you know this truth, you know that you please Krishna, and the same Krishna is everywhere. And when he's satisfied, automatically everything will be fine. That is why he says, do sacrifice, do Sankirtana Yajna. Everybody is simply sitting in their house and doing Sankirtana. How will that create rain? It does, because it's the Paramatma who is bringing that rain. So many times when we do Sankirtana, at the end of it, we've seen rain. Because Krishna is happy, then when material nature works. These Purushas are called incarnations. Generally, one who does not know the science of God or Krishna assumes that this material world is for the enjoyment of the living entities, and that the living entities are the Purushas. We think we are the Purushas, right? But actually, the Lord is the Purusha, and we are also Prakriti, the causes, controllers, and enjoyers of the material energy. Except that we are spiritual energy, and Prakriti is material energy. That is what we are, spiritual energy, but we are energy. And Krishna is the energetic of both material energy and spiritual energy. And we are actually marginal energy, because soul is spirit, but our body is Prakriti, material nature. So that's why we have both marginal energy here. In this verse under discussion, it stated that Krishna is the original cause of the material manifestation. Even the Brahmajyoti, which is the ultimate goal of the impersonalist, is a spiritual energy manifested in the spiritual sky. There are no spiritual diversities in the Brahmajyoti as there are in the Vaikuntha Lokas. So so that is what it's explaining, all the different features of this manifestation. The Brahmajyoti is also pure spiritual energy. There is no matter in that. That's the difference. In the material world, we have a matter predominantly, and the soul also, which is controlling it, and the person behind both of them. Once you get out of this, then you have only Brahman. Brahman is pure spirit, which is emanating from the Supreme Lord, Brahma Jyoti. It is also a spiritual energy manifested in the spiritual sky. Because there is no Purusha, Krishna is not showing himself as a form, but it's only his energy in the form of light. Then Paramatma manifestation is also a temporary, all-pervasive aspect of the Kshirodakshay Vishnu. That's also temporary, because the Lord is permanent, but his manifestation in every atom and every living being and all is there only as long as creation exists. At the end of every every day of Brahma, at the end of it, partial annihilation happens. I mean, all the lower planets completely dissolve in the waters. And at the end of Brahma's life, the whole creation, all the universes enter into his body. So that time, Paramatma is not there. It's not required. Only again, when creation takes place, then Garbhodakshay Vishnu, he is also temporary manifestation. So like that. So that is not our eternal relationship, because only as long as this material world is there, we have relationship with Garbhodakshay Vishnu, Kshirodakshay, Paramatma, and all that. But the supreme, therefore the factual absolute truth is the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna. He is the complete energetic person, and he possesses different separated and internal energies. But Krishna is always there. He's in the spiritual world. This material world is a temporary manifestation, just in order to, it's like a prison, right? In a city, there are living entities who live in the prison also. But that is not the eternal, this thing, all the inmates of that jail are also actually belonging to the city. And once they are rectified, they'll also become part. We don't always think that they're going to live in the jail. So in the same way, our original place is here. So their relationship, all the prisoners, they're not going to say the jailer is the ultimate, and I only want to be with the jailer. No, they have only, as long as they are in the jail, they have a relationship with the jailer. Then when they come out, they have relationship with the chief minister or prime minister, like that. They're part of the regular society. So like that. So Krishna is the supreme person, and our original relationship is with him only. And so in the material energy, the principal manifestations are 8. So out of this, 5 manifestations, earth, water, fire, air, and sky, are called the 5 gigantic creations, or the gross creations, because we can perceive with our gross senses. That's why they're called gross. And within which the 5 sense objects are included. They are what are the 5 sense objects? Because what is the meaning of having an eye if you don't have sight? Right? So sight is the object of the senses. The sense is there so that it can see. And the nose, object of the nose is to smell. What is the object of the ear? It is to hear sound. Object of the tongue is to taste. So objects of the senses are all this 5. Sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. Material science comprises these 10 items and nothing more. But the other 3 items, namely mind, intelligence, and false ego, are neglected by the materialists. Only now a little bit of research has been done on the mind. Even that they don't fully fully know much about the mind, because it's subtle. They cannot see with their gross senses. Philosophers who deal with mental activities are also not perfect in knowledge, because they do not know the ultimate source, Krishna. The false ego, I am, and it is mine, which constitute the basic principle of material existence, includes 10 sense organs for material activities. Intelligence refers to the total material creation called the Mahat Tattva. Therefore, from the 8 separated energies of the Lord are manifest 24 elements of the material world, which are the subject matter of Sankhya atheistic philosophy. They are originally offshoots from Krishna's energies and are separated from him. But atheistic Sankhya philosophers with a poor fund of knowledge do not know Krishna as the cause of all causes. The subject matter for discussion in the Sankhya philosophy is only the manifestation of the external energy of Krishna as it is described in the Bhagavad Gita. So this actually, if anybody tries to learn all these material, even the material energy, without understanding Krishna, then their knowledge is imperfect. Because all these energies are coming from Krishna. And that's why when we become Krishna conscious, we can understand the mind perfectly. We can understand what is intelligence, what is false ego. Because they only say ego. Ego. But why is ego bad? Ego, you have to have a sense of who I am. We say, who he's got a big ego. Why? What is that? They don't know what. What is wrong in having ego? Because we have an ego. Everyone has a sense of, I am something. But false ego means you are identifying with your body, because that is not you. When you have a real identity that I'm actually a spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna, and I'm a servant, that is real identity. That is real ego. And you can have that. You should have it. Otherwise, how you can exist? And so this false ego is, I'm this body and everything is mine. That is what is in the material existence. And that includes 10 sense organs for material activities. 10 sense organs, we saw 5: eyes, ears, nose, mouth, tongue and touch. This thing,
Yes, Mataji.
ears and skin. Then we have active organs, which is hands, legs, anus, genitals. All these are active organs, and also voice. So totally we have 10 material items. And this is what we'll study in our educational system. Schools and colleges are only about these things, nothing more than that. Even mind, intelligence, and false ego are neglected by the materialists. So
Yes,
that is why.
Mataji.
Therefore,
Yes, Mataji. Even like air, water, and all, they don't tell Panchabhuta, they'll tell 5 elements. They don't teach us the actual terms.
Yeah. And they don't know much about it. In the sense, they are seeing it in a very, it's not as an energy of Krishna. So that's why they don't have complete knowledge about it. You see, there's a difference between Ayurveda and medical science, allopathy. Why? Because over there, they see in a very, clinical way without any relationship with Krishna. Whereas Ayurveda knows everything. They take into consideration the soul also, consciousness. The consciousness is very important in the body. And if consciousness is fine, then it is related to the body also. If the consciousness is very good, then the body gets healed much faster. And many times it's because of faulty consciousness that all these things, fail. Because, for example, if the consciousness is not Krishna conscious, then what happens? The mind becomes, attached to material things, and if they're suffering, then negative. And because of that, there so many toxins are produced. Negative thinkings produces toxins within the body. So mind is connected with the subtle body, is connected with the gross body. Or wrong intelligence makes us do all wrong things, neglect the body, put all kinds of food into the body. And in this way, we ruin it. We fall sick because of faulty consciousness, which affects the mind, the body, everything. So that they don't know, and they don't even know allopathy about how Krishna says that I am the fire within the stomach, which later you'll see. He will say that I am the fire in the stomach which digests food. Now the science, doesn't tell us that there is fire in the body, first of all. And if you go and tell the allopathic doctor, my body is very heated up, doctor, what to do? They'll just blink. What are you saying? Your body is heated up. They don't even know there is fire. Okay, there is temperature and all that. Heat is there. But how is there fire? And what is that fire? Where is it coming from? And so all these things, that's why it's very limited. Does any allopathic doctor ever tell you how to cool the system and all that?
No, Mataji.
So very they do, because if you don't study the consciousness along with the body, your understanding of the body will be very lopsided, very partial. And not only soul, but even super soul is even higher, because by chanting mantras and all, they also, Ayurveda always worships Dhanvantri. And they know that medicines are also effective only by the mercy of Krishna. So then that way, it's not simply, and then they know how these balance. See, the body is made up of Vata, Kapha, and Pitta. What does it stand for? Vata is air, Pitta is water, and Kapha is water, and Pitta is fire. Now, if you see in the universe is also functioning because of sun and water and air. These are the three most important ingredients for us, isn't it? If we don't have sun, then the body really becomes withered. And if you don't have enough water also, or if you can't breathe properly, fresh air we require. In this, those three things should also be balanced within the body. So just by touching our nadi or the veins, different veins, they can make out which one is not functioning properly, and they have different ways to find out what is the cause just by touching the nadi. It's quite simple, but you have to learn the technique, and that it's the technicality of it, not very complicated, but you have to learn it. So that way they see that is a complete understanding. You don't have to, you go to a hospital, they will tell you one small problem, you yourself can diagnose it even, but they will not accept like that. Go make all tests, spend lots of money so that I can also fill my pocket, and then after that they will keep on eliminating. Okay, not this, not this, not this, and then finally they can just test for whatever is required. No, but they will not do like that. So it is totally that, because they are partial understanding. You can't know much. You need to know the consciousness also. Okay, so text 5. Apareyam itastvanyam prakritim vidhime param jiva bhuta mahabaho yayedham dharyate jagat. Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. So he talked about material nature. Now he's talking about the superior energy, which comprises the living entities. We, the jivas, who are exploiting, in all bodies, not just human beings, living entities in animals or birds and plants and microbes and fishes and everything. The living entities who are exploiting these inferior energies for different purposes are the superior energy of the Supreme Lord. And it is due to this energy that the entire material world functions, right? It's only because we are all working, we're doing something, everybody. Human beings with more intelligence, consciously they're doing, but all animals are also functioning. Fishes are also doing their job, and that is why this world is functioning. Cosmic manifestation has no power to act unless it's moved by the superior energy, the living entity. Energies are always controlled by the energetic, and therefore the living entities are also controlled by the Lord. They have no independent existence. While we are the superior energy, we are still the energy, and we are also controlled by the Lord. We don't have an independent existence, but we are superior to the material energy, so we are trying to control. But actually, that control, even the power to control that, is coming from Krishna. They're never they're never equally powerful as unintelligent men think. So they think that I'm also God. Why they think like that? It's unintelligence. If you really think, what am I doing? Such a meager, tiny thing. And what is a God doing? How can I be God? The distinctions between the living entities and the Lord is described in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.87.30 as follows. O
Hare
Supreme
Krishna,
Eternal.
Mataji.
Yes.
I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Then what does it mean to say like then Krishna is inside me always? Like what does it mean to say that then?
Krishna is within me as a Paramatma, but I'm also there, separate from him. I'm not the Paramatma.
Oh, okay, Mataji.
Two people are there.
So that is myself, the soul, and Krishna.
Yes, super soul. Yeah.
Super soul.
Paramatma, the expansion of Krishna. Yeah. Then here from in the Srimad Bhagavatam 10.87.30, the distinction between living entity and the Lord is described. O Supreme Eternal, if the embodied living entities were eternal and all-pervading like you, then they would not be under your control. But if the living entities are accepted as minute energies of your lordship, then they are at once subject to your supreme control. Therefore, real liberation entails surrender by the living entities to your control, and that surrender will make them happy. In that constitutional position only can they be controllers. Therefore, men with limited knowledge who advocate the monistic theory that God and the living entities are equal in all respects are actually guided by a faulty and polluted opinion. So he's saying that if we were eternal, I mean, if we are eternal and all pervading, are we everywhere? Do we know? I don't even know what's happening to you, right? I can know of what I'm feeling within my body. I don't know what you're experiencing. Then how can I be God? I'm not all pervading. Then, so that is why, because Krishna is everywhere and he knows everybody. There's nobody he doesn't know. And because of that, we are under his control. Um, so we are under his supreme control. And so liberation means understanding this fact. He's such a supremely intelligent person and my well-wisher. And if I just surrender to him and I do according to what he says, then everything will be perfect. And he's showing that in the animal kingdom, they don't have, they don't have any karma. Krishna is completely controlling them because they are so much identifying with their body. Their intelligence is, minimal, and whatever they are doing is because Krishna is controlling them, but not out of choice. Animals are not being controlled because of choice. They are forcibly controlled. But we can understand how when Krishna controls, animals have no problems, only we have problems. What animals, you see them flying on the air, in the sky, right? Beautiful formation. They never bump against each other. So many birds will be flying. Nobody will hit each other and fall down. Or, and then you see how, even a mosquito, it's flying around. How? It's like a tiny helicopter or this thing. How is it flying? How? I mean, everything is done by, because the Paramatma is completely controlling. That's why they never fall sick. How much ever they need to eat, that is all they'll eat and they'll stop after that. And suppose even mating is only in the mating season, that's it. It's not at all the time they'll want to do. So, and they get up properly in the early morning. I mean, the sun rises, along with that, they'll get up, and the night during sunset, they come back home and they all retire. Everything perfect for an animal kingdom. There's no need of a hospital. Only domesticated animals require treatment. Otherwise, in the forest, everybody is beautifully managing. Why? Because Krishna is controlling everything. But when we become human beings, Krishna says, no, you use your intelligence, and on your own, willingly, you should surrender to me. Otherwise, okay, you think you only can manage, do it. That is the false illusory intelligence he gives, by which we think I'm separate from Krishna, I don't need him, I myself am intelligent, I will manage everything. And that is why we are constantly getting into a mess. But when we accept, see, therefore, real means surrender by the living entities to your control. And that surrender will make us happy. In that constitutional position, only can we be controllers. So if we are controlled by Krishna, we can also be a controller, like, see, Brahma and all that. He's controlling the whole universe, but he's a soul surrendered to Krishna. So we can be secondary controllers. So many things Krishna empowers everyone to do. He doesn't do anything. You see how Purusha Avatara is just lying down. That's it. He is not getting into, or even as Krishna, he's just enjoying himself. He never does any work, right? It is, but he empowers everyone else to do. So all power is coming from him. And we understand that, then we should surrender. Yes, Krishna, you are the supreme. Therefore, men with limited knowledge who advocate the monistic theory that God and the living entities are equal. That's what the monism is. I mean, Mayavadi philosophy or impersonalism. We're all gods. You are also Narayana, I am also Narayana. total rascals. How we can all be Narayana? Then why you are in Maya? If you ask them, no, okay, you're Narayana, no? Then how you fell into Maya? Oh, it is my Leela. It's a Leela to suffer. If we are Narayana, why are we helplessly suffering? So that is what is it. The Supreme Lord Krishna is the only controller, and all living entities are controlled by him. These living entities are a superior energy because the quality of their existence is one and the same with the Supreme. So in quality, we are the same as Krishna. That is why we are able to associate with him. Na? In our perfected state, we are one with, we are equal in quality, but not in quantity. That is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Veda Abheda Tattva. We are simultaneously one and different from Krishna. One in quality and different in quantity. Okay, it is inconceivable. That's why it said achintya. You cannot really understand. You have to gradually, as we chant and read Bhagavad Gita more, we'll understand, because it's all very mystical. Right now, we've been taught like that, and all education is based on the senses. Okay, while exploiting the gross and subtle inferior energy, the superior energy, living entity, forgets its real spiritual mind and intelligence. This forgetfulness is due to the influence of matter upon the living entity. But when the living entity becomes free from the influence of the illusory material energy, he attains the stage called mukti or liberation. So that is what we come under the control of this inferior energy when we forget our real spiritual mind and intelligence. But when we become free from this illusory energy, then again we are back in the spiritual energy. The false ego, under the influence of material illusion, thinks I'm matter and material acquisitions are mine. His actual position is realized when he's liberated from all material ideas, including the conception of his becoming one in all respects with God. Therefore, one may conclude that the Gita confirms the living entity to be only one of the multi-energies of Krishna. And when this energy is freed from material contamination, it becomes fully Krishna conscious or liberated. So once you understand that everything is coming from Krishna, then all your anxieties will go away. Because, okay, as long as we are in this material world, we have to maintain our body. We have to work, we have to earn, we have to take care of the body. So many activities also are there, material activities. We have our families, all these things. But we will understand that Krishna, along with his control, only I'm doing all this. I will take shelter of him. Then very easy, life will become very easy because he is the controller now. We can connect with him, he will tell us, okay, don't do like this, don't do like that. Suppose, you buy a Samsung a TV, and then you don't know to operate, but then you think, no, I don't need, I mean, okay, I don't know much about technology, and I'm just trying to figure out myself, removing this, turning that, and all that. I might make a lot of mistakes. I might spoil the TV also. But if I'm intelligent, and my friend, I make friends with that technician and say that, please tell me, okay, how this is done. So whenever he will teach me, okay, this, do that, and my TV will be fine. And I can also, I mean, this is just a gross example I'm giving, because Krishna, I mean, because he's only manufactured this universe. No, he's a manufacturer, and if I connect with him, I'll know how everything is working. And Krishna says, you don't have to struggle at all. Just take shelter of me, and your life will be smooth sailing, wonderful. As long as we don't remember Krishna, only we think, oh, my own mind, intelligence, I depend upon. And, we get bogged, we get very frustrated, and, we feel the limitations of material life. We are limited because, I mean, even our karmas are limiting us. Why? Because we are not thinking of Krishna. We're only looking at matter. That's because of illusory energy. But the minute you understand, Krishna is explaining here, you're not this material energy, you're spiritual energy, and Krishna is controlling you. And when you connect with him, then material energy is under our control, right? We can control. You see great yogis, what all mystic powers they get. They can become smaller than the smallest. Can we become now? No, because we are identifying with the gross body. But when yogis sit and meditate, they are identifying with their soul, with the Paramatma. And because they are meditating on the Paramatma, or at his lotus feet, because he's Yogeshwara, full of yoga, mystic opulences, they also
Mataji,
get.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Yes,
Krishna, sorry to interrupt, Mataji.
yes.
Dandavat Pranam. Mataji, here what is complete surrender means, Mataji? Actually, you have said that we should do our karma without attached to fruitful fruit, right, Mataji?
First of all, you learn about Krishna. Yeah, that is true. We saw the processes. Yeah, Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. That is what we are, Prabhupada is teaching us to do, Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. But now you should also know for whom you are doing it. So right now you think about Krishna, then Karma Yoga also will become very easy. Bhakti Yoga will also become easy because you will get attracted. Oh, this Supreme Lord, for him I'm doing. Willingly you will do, right? Yeah. Okay, we saw the process in the first 6 chapters. And now Krishna is telling, I am the person for whom you're doing all this. So now we're trying to understand this Lord who's so great. For him, I'm doing. And he said also in Bhagavad Gita 5.29 that I, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam, I am the a person who in full consciousness, me, understands that I am the real enjoyer of all the all the planets. Sorry, I am the enjoyer of all the sacrifices and your austerities. So we should know that. I mean, he's saying that he is the enjoyer. That means we are working for him. And I'm the proprietor of all these planets and devatas. So that Krishna. And if you understand these two, and you also understand that I'm your well-wishing friend, I'm the real benedictor and well-wishing friend of all living entities, then you will give up all miseries, material pangs, and become very peaceful. So that is the process. But now, who is this Krishna for whom I must do that? That is what he is telling. And once you know that, oh, Krishna, he is the controller, how he is controlling, he's telling us. Because that we learned, okay, Karma Yoga I must do for Krishna. But then I have no attachment for Krishna. Who is this Krishna? He is in the temple. How he is controlling my life? How does he know what's happening? Like I go out and I'm working, I'm talking to friends. Now, does Krishna know all that, or is he even interested, or does he know all these things, what I'm thinking of? We have so many doubts, isn't it? So now the 7 to 12 will speed up our bhakti for him. And then Karma Yoga will also become easy. Jnana Yoga also, I mean, that's part of bhakti. That is, we also learn about more about Krishna. We also start doing work for Krishna. And in this way, we'll realize him more and more. Did I
Yes,
answer?
Mataji. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
We have time for okay. Utkarshini Mataji will ask any questions.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
And when people who own these cattle, farms, and all, we see them, if it's not rained for many years, they'll worship Varuna or Indra. But why like that? They can worship Krishna directly, right? That please, Krishna, make it rain in my farm. So why?
Yeah, understanding Krishna is not easy because people are attached to matter, material. As long as we are attached to Prakriti, we're not aware of Purusha, Krishna, or because of their false ego and all that. Because Krishna means you have to accept his great. He's so great. And so that's why Krishna, I mean, to understand him requires more surrender, purification. And that's why he's kept these agents, devatas, like Varuna, Indra, Soma. They are the ones who are giving us all these things. And because that is also mentioned in the Shastras for those who are not ready to surrender to Krishna. That is why. But it's very easy. We don't have to see, once Krishna is one-stop shop. Like you go to a mall, you get everything, right? Otherwise, you have to go shop to shop, go here. Okay, then you take the car and go somewhere else, and then somewhere else, because different things are available in different places. So like that, devatas, there are so many devatas, each for a different thing. So you have to do one puja for different people. But Krishna says, come to me. I will, everybody's, that's why he showed the Vishwarupa. Everyone is in me only. So you surrender to me, all of them will help you. Don't worry. That is what
Yes.
he told the Vrajavasis also, no? That's why. He said, why you're doing Indra Puja? Come, you do worship, we'll worship Govardhan.
Govardhan. Yes, Mataji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Mataji. Dhanvat.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
Now we have discussed about the Krishna, the Paramatma is in all these creatures, including birds and cows and all those things. And there is a living order, and they never goes to hospital. And Krishna is protecting, and they flies in an alignment without clashing each other because of the Krishna's power. And even the human beings are different from all those things. And they made such a season, but the human beings are different. They eat something different. Human beings are different, and lifestyle is also different. So we are talking about bhakti and three margas to reach the mukti. So is the mukti is only confined to the human being, or is it applicable to all his creation?
Mukti, you're saying.
Yeah.
You're talking of mukti.
Yes.
Or, or bhakti.
Mukti
Both.
only, because we have to be do the sadhana for getting the mukti, right? So
Yes. So
even these creatures are also these under the samrakshana of Krishna, and are they going for mukti, or is it applicable to mukti for other creatures?
human beings, right?
Yeah. Is it confined to only human beings?
See, yeah, I mean, ultimately, when you have to be liberated and understand God, that can happen only in the human form, because you need intelligence, no, consciousness to be expanded. Then only you can understand. Whereas animals and all that, their intelligence is very limited to material, their body functioning, or just hunting for food and those sort of things. So they can get purified if they hear Hare Krishna mantra and all that. Suppose you have a dog, or I mean, even when we are chanting to plants, insects. Suppose you're chanting Hare Krishna. That's why they say chant loudly, because it's not only for yourself, even other people will benefit. So suppose an animal, a dog is listening to the Hare Krishna mantra, then it can, because of that, it's getting purified, because the soul only is there in the body. It cannot consciously understand what is God. You tell preach to the dog, you tell Bhagavad Gita, it'll just blink at you. Can't understand. Though it is the Atma there, but Atma is completely in false ego, thinking I'm this dog. And he can only think I'm a dog, I'm this body. So that is why we can purify by feeding it prasadam and hearing it chant and all that. And then by that, they may get a human birth in the next life, and then he can become a devotee. But human form of life, that is why is so important, because only in this birth we can make spiritual progress. I mean, actually come to the point. I mean, it is like at the junction, before that, and those bodies, you cannot. I mean, you can get purified, but you don't, your consciousness is not developed to understand God.
But we heard that Gajendra moksha and so many other animals got mokshas also, no?
Yeah, that is very rare. General animals, see, Gajendra Moksha also, he is very special, because in his previous life, he was King Indradyumna. And he had developed a lot of bhakti, but he did some sin, so for which he was born as an elephant. And he was not aware that he was a devotee or anything. Only when he was going through extreme pressure, and by Krishna's mercy, he suddenly remembered about his, devotion to Krishna. But that's again by Krishna's mercy. Those are all special. So actually, even you have, what is that, for Rama, what is that bird? Who?
Jatayu.
Jatayu. So Jatayu also was a bird, but he was a devotee. But those are very exceptional cases. Generally, if you see animals, birds, and all that, they have to go through evolution, come to the human form, and then only they can make further progress. Because in human birth itself, it's so difficult. In one birth, we cannot go back to Godhead. There are Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains that there are 8,004,000,000 species of living entities, of births, I mean, bodies, and out of which only 4 lakh are human beings. Different types of human beings are there. And in that, most people are uncivilized. And out of the civilized people, some of them are simply in name only, they call themselves, I'm a Hindu, I'm a this, that. They don't actually follow anything. Then out of those who follow, hardly one is interested in spiritual understanding. And of those who are interested in spiritual understanding, very few are actually liberated. And among those liberated, hardly one wants to know Krishna in truth. So it's like that. We have to evolve our consciousness. Even in human birth, we are so attached to the body. So, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so merciful that in this age, by chanting Hare Krishna mantra, everybody, whatever level, even uncivilized people can evolve in this one lifetime only. They can evolve and go back to God if they want. And even animals and birds and insects and all, because if they keep hearing, devotees chanting and all that, then they also will get a better birth. They may get even a human birth, and they can circumvent all these evolutionary levels and come to human birth, and then they can become a devotee. So that is why Hare Krishna mantra is so powerful. And in this age only, that special privilege is given, because our lives are very short and so difficult. So Krishna knows he has to really baby feed, he has to give something very simple for us. Otherwise, we won't make any progress. But don't think it is low type of, no. Actually, chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is the highest spiritual activity, because in the scriptures it's mentioned that somebody who's chanting Hare Krishna, you should know that he has already done all other spiritual practices, purificatory things like bathing in all the rivers, holy rivers, and then doing a lot of austerities, doing all yogas and jnana, everything would have finished. Then only you can come to the level of chanting, because you see, it's so simple, but why everybody is not chanting? They don't feel like chanting. They say, oh, it's so boring. Yeah, again, same thing you're chanting. They don't get the taste. That also, it's difficult for everyone. But because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, if you're ready to take that mercy and chant the Panchatattva mantra, Hare Krishna, anybody can chant. And that is why devotees keep on having to, tell everybody, please, please chant, no, come with us, and then try to somehow trick them into chanting. So that is the mercy that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving us in this age. Otherwise, self-realization is very difficult. That's why we have been in this material world for how many births? Millions, trillions of births we've been here. Slow evolution. But now that we have understood what it is, then we should wake up and we should say, no. In this birth only, and it's possible. Chanting Hare Krishna, understanding Bhagavad Gita, and just following simple things, you can go back if you want. It all depends upon our desire.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, but like not everybody gets that privilege of bathing in holy rivers and all that.
That's not required. That's not required. Because if you have not done all that, but if you are chanting Hare Krishna mantra, that means all that pious credit is already you have. That's what it means.
Okay, Hare
in
Krishna.
This age, you don't normally, you have to do all that until you come to that stage. But because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, even you never did anything, even you're a criminal also, you can chant Hare Krishna and you will get all the pious credit of doing all those other things.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. You have described about the evolutionary process, and I understand that being a human being is itself a different stage of mukti, and we have reached to that level by upgrading the standard of living in the form of human being. So, Jandunam Nara Janma Durlabha. So that's what we have been upgraded, and from there, the next step is easier. That's what I understand. And the human beings having the intelligence to do the sadhana so that their attainment of mukti will be superficial, very near. That is what I understood. So they have to wait for quite a long time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, one last question.
Yes.
We were explaining about the Mahavishnu, Garbhodayasthi Vishnu, and Kshirodayasthi Vishnu. So you said the last two are the ones who are there till the material world is there. So the ultimate one is Mahavishnu, right?
Mahavishnu is also, he is actually is an avatar who has come from the spiritual world just for the sake of material action, creative. It's only for the material world. He's an expansion of the Lord, but it is only for the material world. That's all. We cannot have an eternal relationship with Mahavishnu. We have an eternal relationship either with Narayana or with Rama or with Krishna in Dwaraka or in this thing, in different, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but with Mahavishnu only as long as we are here, because his manifestation is only for this material world. Is that okay?
Yes.
Is it clear? Haribol, who asked that question? Okay.
Purvi Mataji.
Yes.
Purvi Mataji, I think.
Okay. So I think they all, maybe quiz is not required, right?
Yes, Mataji, I was about to say the same.
Okay, let us start now.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda